Welcome to Columbia Conversations. We have with us Dr. Hirenappa Udnur, consultant pulmonologist, Columbia Asia Hospital, Hebbal. He has 14 years of experience, and today we will receive information from him on the most trending topic, coronavirus. Welcome, doctor.
Hi.
So, what is coronavirus and how does it spread?
Coronavirus, it's there. It's one of the RNA virus, and there are many viruses which causes respiratory infections, upper respiratory tract infection. It can cause myalgia. It can involve every organ system. Normally, it can come as a cold and go. And this virus has been arisen from China to the Wuhan market. It has been traced, and this is taken a havoc on whole world. And it is a real pandemic which happens once in 100 years, where many patients are dying because of respiratory failure, and on a ventilator it can cause us multi-organ dysfunctions. And this virus, we do not know much about this new virus, and it is being mutated. Usually it happens in bats, and now it has acquired a status where it can transmit from human to human, and that is why, and it is highly infective. The mode of spread is usually droplet airborne infection, and it is highly infective. That is the reason that we are all talking about corona at this point of time.
Okay. So, can this virus spread through food, including restaurant takeaways, frozen, packaged food?
Mainly the coronavirus, usually it can't remain silent on its own, and you need some human body to be there carrying that virus. So it spreads from human to human. When any infection which spreads human to humans, it becomes dangerous. And there are other modes of spread. Usually when they cough or when they sneeze, and if the person infected sneeze, if the other person is not wearing mask and he is close, then he may get infected. And there are other ways to of spread. If he gets his droplet, they can be on the table and they can stay for longer duration. If somebody touches it and uses his hand, puts it over the eyes, nose and other things, then it can spread. It can spread to fomites also. It does not spread by sweating and other things. Mainly it is airborne infection, and there is a lot of talk that air can spread. Air can spread because sometimes when many patients who are infected with corona, they are close together and in a gathering, and air, if they are not distinct, this can be in the air. These droplets and micro droplets can be in the air, and when these are inhaled, and they can stay for longer duration if you are breathing in that air only, and it can spread, and that is how it is spreading. Even a fecal-oral route has been told that it will spread. These are the major routes of spread, but it does not spread by eating the cooked food. As you said, it does not. Usually you can have bakery items and other things, it is cooked, it does not spread like that. So usually it is been killed by simple soap and water, and that is why we are all using sanitizing everywhere. So sanitizers are available in any places if you go, and when you sanitize it, and soap, Dettol, it will kill the coronavirus. So it can stay longer duration. That is why when you are affected with infected people, we normally sanitize. So it does not spread by cooked food, frozen food and other things. It does not spread. That is not the way it has to spread. It has to spread by a human being who carries that coronaviruses, and he coughs and sneezes, or close to him, staying close to him, and somebody breathes very close to him and take his breath, then the load of viral load will be responsible for a person going to get infected or not.
Okay. So, what are the complications and symptoms of COVID-19 and how can it be treated?
Before going to a complications, we will tell about the symptoms of corona. So we know the spread, it is highly infectious, that is why it is pandemic. We know what it is, how it started from the Wuhan. So it is intercontinental, it is gone through all the nations and all. Usually you can get a simple viral fever. Sometimes people will not have symptoms, and they are tested, means they will be tested, they are asymptomatic carriers. So some people will develop mild symptoms, they can get a mild headache, running nose, and they say loss of taste and lot of smell, which are highly specific for COVID. There are also been symptoms. Sometimes all this viral illness, influenza like symptoms, you may get severe headache, myalgia, generalized tiredness, high grade fevers and chills, and back pain. Those kind can be symptoms, and it might go with dolo, and you may improve without any treatment also. And you might recover with mild sneezing, 2 days of fever, and it might improve. That can be as less symptoms as possible, but it can involve the GI system also. like it can get loose motions. These can be also symptoms. In elderly people, they can just tiredness can be symptoms. Sometimes it can present as a heart problem, breathlessness become sinus, hands will become bluish, they become too much breathlessness, and heart rate related problem also they can come to emergency. They may come with a low oxygen and breathlessness, cough, they may get blood in the sputum if lungs are involved. So that's how corona manifestations can happen. Sometimes sodium can become low, they may come with a fit, or they may come with unconsciousness. These all neurological manifestations can be seen. Though most of the patients, some people are not able to get up only if the muscle and all are weak, and muscle damage and myalgia, they may make exhaustion, tiredness can be a feature of symptoms. It's just varied manifestations of symptoms. Corona can present it any kind of manifestations. Sometimes without any treatment it will improve, sometimes they require a high-end treatment going up to a ECMO, ventilator, and death rate is high in this situation. It is high in this situation because of the fear of infectivity, because we need to work totally different how we used to work for other infections like H1N1, when we have to be also protected, because the protection for ourselves while treating is important. But if you carry infected, it may not happen anything to you, but you may carry these infections to the elderly and kids at home. They may get infected and you will cause a problem. That's how challenging the corona is having at this point of time. Regarding the most important complication is pneumonia. Most of the time we see pneumonia. Second things is a kidney failure, and most of the people, even the liver can get involved, neurology can involve, multiple blood related problem, platelets can become low like dengue, and they have a bleeding everywhere from the body. This can also be a manifestation. Sometimes BP can be low. All these are the complications of COVID. Not all will get complications. 85% or to 90% they will not have any problem. 5-10% they require oxygen and hospitalization, CT, antibiotics and other things, antiviral and all. Very 5% they will go to ICU requiring invasive ventilator, ECMO and all those steps. And the mortality is around it's 3 to 4% or up to 5% if you really manage the patients well without the fear and all. So far the fear of infectivity and all, we are losing the patient if the patient comes at very late, when they are oxygen, when we don't have time to prepare ourselves and we ventilate properly and other things, it will be tough. These are the complications of corona.
Okay, so how one should protect themselves from coronavirus, and what are the precautions to be taken?
See, the incubation period is around a week to 14 days. 14 days is the time which we say we need to be isolated. That's how it is being designed. Some patients can get infected after, spread the infection after 14 days also, up to 13 days. We don't know much data about it, but the viral load comes less, they are less infective. So if the corona affected person, the first thing is he has to wear N95 mask. And if this patient is walking around, that's why all this government orders that the person positive should be taken care and the quarantine will be done and passive surveillance is done. They are telling them to stay at home. They tell because we don't want the disease to spread. It is a public health problem. So how to get protected means, usually this person who go to near to him at less than 2 meters and have a more contact time of 15 minutes and more, and your breathing is the air what he is breathing, and he accidentally sneezes or a cough, and these particles you touch, and this is the way to infect. So first of all, standing at a distance at least 6 feet, and it is going from 2 feet, 6 feet to 9 feet. So if somebody is coughing, it is highly risky. If he is staying silent, only the breath is there, up to 2 meter distance you have to maintain the physical distance, or what you call as social distance. That is the most important preventive aspect. So, and you should whenever possible you touch something and all, you be isolated, so that you use the sanitizing solution always whenever you touch somebody or you go to some unknown place or handle doorknobs and other things. That is also protective because it can stay there, and if you touch accidentally over the face, and if your face is exposed to other person, that is more infective. So that's why people are wearing face shield also. The major route of infection is the breathing route, and that is given more priority. So that is most important thing. So we have to wear the mask. A triple layer surgical mask is good enough in a general public for a non-doctors or a non-general public, or a surgical mask. Even a cloth mask is also protective, and we should use sanitization, social distancing or physical distancing. These are the standard precautions which we use. But sometimes if you are visiting a place which is a high risk zone, hospital is a high risk zone where we have some patients who are corona, and some patients there is a viral load is there in the air, and their time we need a surgical more than a surgical mask, and N95 it protects. N95 is a better tool in that time. Sometimes you use face shield, gloves are being used so that you don't touch properly, and when you touch it, and don't touch those objects and try putting it on the face. That's why we use sanitizing. These are the standard precautions where we get protected by yourself. And sometimes sharing a common bathroom, because it can spread by fecal-oral route, is also been said, and sometimes it is very difficult to follow strictly. But if you use the mask for a general public, I say using a mask should be mandatory at this point of pandemic. And whenever there is a human in front of you, you definitely wear the mask. If there is a free air, fresh air, you are standing alone, there are no people around, then we can have a liberty to loosen your mask and take a fresh air, because we can't be on a continuous mask. It has its own problem, you can get headache and other things, but mask definitely protects. These are the preventive aspects which we need to be careful, especially during the time of pandemic.
Okay, so what one should do if they come in contact with COVID positive, or if any of his family member is COVID positive?
If the family member is tested positive, first of all we should not panic. The way we consume the news and what exactly the items you say that corona is like a death sentence, it's not so. So first of all, the problem, once the COVID becomes positive, you should never stigmatize a person. You should say you might have affected by what I've got, and people try telling you are gone where, you are touched him, you are visited without knowing. There's no point. It's very difficult to contain a invisible virus which we don't know, and you can get infected even after being a PPE also. And protection is important. In spite of protection, if it's tested positive, and don't rush that you need a hospital bed, he is corona positive, it's not required. If the patient looks fine in front of you and he is clinically stable, he doesn't have any symptoms, relax. Somebody will call you, the DHO might call you, and BBMPA might call you and ask the history. If he has any problems like comorbidities, he is diabetic, and if he is young between 18 to 60 years without any problem, and he can be managed in house also. But you take a help from the expert. You can call a video consult. If your COVID test has come positive, you may ask the hospitals which are well equipped with the emergency and other things, where they can go and give a blood test, because people are afraid to take a blood test. You can drive there, give the blood test without infecting others, wear the mask, have pulse oximeter at home, and isolate himself if your house is there, and bathroom sanitization and other things are important. If they are elderly at house, first ask them to isolate themselves. They are a reverse isolation, what you call that, protect them, because they have a chance of getting a complications is very high. Then any kids which less than 10 years, they should be protected. So in the house you should give a accommodative moral support, so that whether he requires hospitalizations, whether he requires admission, choose based on the symptoms. Not like corona is positive, you go hospital to hospital for admission, it's not. You have to quarantine. Quarantine can be done in house, hotel, or if you have don't facility, you can use the hotel quarantine. Or if you don't have symptoms, these two are enough. Just by isolating himself you can improve, but you may require some immunity boosters like vitamin and other things might be required. We can do, even a simple kashaya will help. So if at all, you can consult the doctor and triage yourself. You get an X-ray, or probably you can get a certain blood markers where your all the parameters are not very high. You can still be managed with simple oral antiviral medications which the doctors can prescribe you, and you can spend 14 days of your life without touching others, without spreading the infections, protecting your family, being mentally positive. And there are a lot of things which you can do when you are idle. You can have on Netflix, Amazon, good movies you can see, and you can get recovered within 14 days. And somebody who is having lots of problem and symptoms are more, those are the one who needs hospitalization. Those are the one we should ask for a bed. Just by coming and sitting in the hospital, it doesn't solve the problems. Those patients should be triaged well and treated. Proper treatment has to be given, and most of them will improve, 85 to 95%. There are few odd patients, sometimes we don't know, even in spite of doing all the things, because it depends on how his immune system will behave with the virus. Sometimes they overreact and they cause multi-organ failure. Sometimes they don't react at all, they don't fight back the infections. And in the fear and psychosis and all, patient will not participate in treating. They go into a depression, they don't do breathing exercise properly in the hospital wards. And if you encourage and keep their more positive frame of mind and continue treating them, they definitely will recover. 95% will recover. And death is, it's very difficult to die with the COVID. if at all you get a right doctor, right hospital, and if you are caring and if you are proactively involved in getting your treatment, this thing, rather than delaying yourself staying at home and you come at 40-50 oxygen, then it is going to be a very difficult situation, because the bed availability is very tough in these situations. So treat yourself without getting hospitalized. Treat them early and tell your symptoms voluntary faster. Don't hide them just because somebody is BBMP will lock down, seal down, all those things, and don't wait for the recover on its own, so that you come to the hospital with oxygen being low. And corona definitely is serious and highly infective, but it can be managed well, and most of the patients we need to lessen the mortality. Many patients should not, you can have an infection number to lakhs or millions, but we should have a numbers of deaths should be very minimal, very less. That is should be our goal. We should lessen the mortality because of COVID.
Okay, so who are at high risk to get seriously ill from COVID?
High risk of see COVID infections in a young 16 to 40, 18 to 60-year-old who is immunocompetent, who doesn't have any diabetes, hypertension, healthy, strong, non-obese. Obesity is a risk factor. We say that many patients will say he is hefty, he is good, he is healthy. It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. So if somebody is having healthy habits and all those things, he will not have complications. It's not a rule, but most of the time 90-95% they will not have problems. Problems are seen because if they have a diabetes, who have a fits or seizure disorder, or who is elderly, whose immune systems are weakened, or who is lesser than 10 years, because it doesn't affect pediatrics. We don't know because of the reasons unknown and other things. It's very good that child or children are not affected, because it's very difficult to treat kids in isolation. So elderly and who are having a kidney disease, cancer problem, who are been getting treated for cancer, and they have a heart problem, and they have a pre-existing disease like asthma, COPD or ILD or some other diseases, and when this comes with other diseases, then it becomes a problem. They are at high risk of having a complications of corona. They may not just have a, because a young patients can have a high grade fever and the BP can become low, and if they take paracetamol, take plenty of water, within 2 days they may get right, because their body's immune system without any other problems they will recover. But if these things happen in already who is having some disease associated, they will definitely go with some kind of complication with a shock or anything will require hospitalizations. They are at high risk.
Okay. Thank you so much, doctor, for such insightful information. Stay tuned for Columbia Conversation.